So I was lucky enough to get invited by Ubisoft to watch the closed door event of Assassin's Creed Mirage and basically every other Assassin's Creed game that is coming up in the future, which includes both the feudal Japan setting as well as Assassin's Creed Hexe, which I cannot wait to share all of those details with you guys now that the embargo is completely lifted. There is so much that I want to share with you guys in all of my upcoming videos. All the things that I've seen, I can now finally be sharing with you. Now in today's video, we are going to discuss about the combat and stealth system that I finally got to see on how it works in Assassin's Creed Mirage, and I've got to say I was finally blown away at what Ubisoft was basically working with Assassin's Creed Mirage and how they designed this whole stealth system and the combat system for this game, which is unlike anything that I've seen with all the other Assassin's Creed games that I've played before. And let me tell you, I have basically played all the Assassin's Creed games so far ever since the first Assassin's Creed game, which released back in 2007. And I perfectly know how all the different stealth systems are. I played multiple times of all the games, and it seems like Assassin's Creed Mirage is just something special in terms of what Ubisoft is cooking in store for us with all the information. I just cannot wait to share with you guys. So now getting started with the combat system and the stealth. How does it work when it comes to gameplay in Assassin's Creed Mirage? Now the first and most core mechanism of Assassin's Creed's combat system and stealth is based on Basim's three different ways of ranking. Now Basim is basically this character who progresses through the entire game. As you start from the beginning to an end, he has three different ranks, one being the rookie, where he basically plays as a street thief who doesn't have any abilities. So it's basically someone who just robs people and then tries to escape from the guards. So he doesn't really have any sort of astonishing combat abilities or even any of the parkour abilities because he's still a street thief. He doesn't have much of an experience yet. So the game is kind of going to be playing differently when you play as Basim from the street thief level, which is 20 years before the Basim that we get to see in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. So he's going to be playing very differently compared to when he becomes an assassin. So the gameplay, the transition of the character, you will actually be able to see a lot of difference in this Assassin's Creed game. It's not just going to be some kind of a skill tree where you magically just unlock a skill using some points and then you have these different abilities. Whereas this game with Assassin's Creed Mirage, Ubisoft has said that they are now focusing more with the narrative, with the storyline, which led them to focusing on character built up using the storyline. So what this basically means is that Basim is going to build up his character, including his stealth system, including the combat system, as well as the parkour in this game. He is basically going to develop stuff. He's going to learn new things from his mentor Roshan, and she is going to be teaching him all the good stuff, and that's basically how it's going to progress through the game. And Basim is going to get better over time as he increases the rank from a street thief to an assassin, and from an assassin to a master assassin in the final stages. So this is how the combat system and stealth system and the parkour system is kind of like divided into three different sections of the game, and you're basically going to have a completely different gameplay style with all the different ranks of Basim. So it's basically not going to feel like you're playing the same character at all. So you are going to kind of feel the progression of how Basim was a street thief to now becoming a master assassin. Now during the closed door event, the game director of Assassin's Creed Mirage basically spoke this one thing where he said that Basim is going to be the most agile assassin character in the history of Assassin's Creed games, where he basically meant that he is going to be the fastest assassin that we ever have made so far. So this could mean that maybe Basim is going to be the most strongest and the most fastest assassin in the history of Assassin's Creed games. And there is a very huge reason as to why the game director had to say this, and thankfully I got to see the reason why Basim is going to be the strongest and the fastest, and that is because he has this new ability that Ubisoft has created that we have never seen before in any other Assassin's Creed games. And the ability is that Basim can basically slow down timer for a couple of seconds. Now what this timer slowdown basically does is that this is going to be very similar to what we have seen with Red Dead Redemption's Deadeye system, where you can simply just mark multiple enemies by just slowing down the timers, and as soon as you press the attack key, you will be able to shoot down all the multiple targets together with a super quick move. So that's basically how it's going to be working with Assassin's Creed Mirage as well. So Basim is basically going to be able to do a stealth assassination attack where you basically slow down the timer, mark different enemies, and then press the attack key, and that's when Basim is going to perform this combo assassination attack where he's going to take down multiple enemies all together at once. And Ubisoft has said that they have different types of animations for this takedown as well. They have a lot of different animations that they have newly created for Basim, especially for the assassinations, combat systems, as well as for stealth. And especially with the series of super quick assassination thing, Ubisoft said that this new ability is going to be called as Assassin's Focus. Now, this is something that is very unique to Basim and Basim only, so you're not going to be seeing this with any other Assassins or any other Assassin's Creed games in the future, maybe. So that is basically the reason why the game director said that he was going to be the most fastest and one of the most strongest assassins that we have ever seen so far. Now, of course, when we talk about stealth and combat system, we of course get this in mind. What about the bird that Basim owns, which is the eagle? And this is something that I really wanted to talk about with you guys because there is something very interesting about this eagle here. Now, the interesting thing about this eagle that Basim owns is regarding its breed, which is basically an imperial hunting eagle named Juvenile Aquila helica. Now, that's basically the name of the breed. I know it's kind of super weird to pronounce this. Now, apparently, when I did my research, it seems like this eagle is basically a hunting eagle, which is used by the Roman imperials. Now, basically, the Romans used this eagle in order to hunt down different animals, even wild animals, animals that are super huge. This eagle could basically hunt down these animals. So that's the reason why it's also called as the Eastern Imperial Eagle. And this is the eagle that Basim is going to be using. And the abilities that this one has is pretty cool, to be honest. Now, one of the eagle's abilities that Ubisoft has shared with me is the ability of tracking your enemies that this eagle can basically perform, where you will now be able to use the eagle vision with your eagle and then track down your enemies from up above the sky. So there is going to be a different scale of stealth system that you can approach the entire mission with. And the eagle also helps you mark your enemies, which is something that we have already seen with games like Assassin's Creed Origin, I guess. And finally, the eagle can of course perform an attack with stealth action kills, or Basim can even use the eagle in order to distract your enemies while you're trying to perform any other kind of stealth actions. Now, regarding the eagle here, this is where the most interesting part comes in. Now, unlike any other Assassin's Creed games where we had the birds, which we could just use for either flying around and then marking enemies and stuff like that, but the birds were never a problem with the enemies. But with Assassin's Creed Mirage, it seems like the enemies in the game, the AIs, are going to treat the bird as their enemies. So they're going to try to shoot down the bird. So Ubisoft has basically added in this new enemy type called Special Archers, who are now going to shoot down your eagle. So anytime you're trying to just scout around or try to look around for players, or even when you're trying to do some takedowns and distractions or killing other AIs in the game, the Special Archers are going to be able to detect your eagle and they will shoot your eagle down, and your eagle is going to have certain amount of health, and if it takes more damage, then the eagle will end up dead. So it is of course going to take a while for the eagle to respawn back again, so you'll have to wait for a couple of seconds or a minute or so. So meanwhile, you're basically losing the aerial view, and that's basically going to affect the way you're going to play your stealth system as. And Ubisoft said that you can basically tackle every single mission with two different options. You can either decide to go ahead and take down all of the Special Archers who are going to be big trouble for your eagle, or you can even let them survive and you can blindly just get into the missions. It's completely up to you guys, but consequences are inevitable. Your eagle is pretty much going to die if the archers do end up spotting them. And one thing that Ubisoft has finally confirmed related to the combat stealth system, the parkour, and the entire core gameplay mechanism of Assassin's Creed Mirage is that this game is plainly focused on identifying, hunting, eliminating your targets, and finally vanishing, which has been the core gameplay mechanism for all the other Assassin's Creed games for all these years. And this trend has basically stopped ever since Assassin's Creed Odyssey came out. The entire mechanism of gameplay basically changed, and then even with Assassin's Creed Origins and Valhalla, we never had the chance to experience what a proper Assassin's Creed game feels like. And now we're going back to its roots and core gameplay mechanisms of what the old school Assassin's Creed games felt like, with some sprinkle of what the new technology and what Ubisoft has to offer with the new titles of Assassin's Creed with Mirage here. Now finally comes the best part about Assassin's Creed Mirage. The huge improvement that Ubisoft has done with this game comes with the AI system. Now this plays a very huge role in terms of how the stealth and combat system works in this game. Now one thing that Ubisoft has done with the AI system is that they made the AI super smart, where they can basically detect you as an assassin apart from the crowd. Now basically in the previous Assassin's Creed games, you could just walk around with this hoodie on and with a super obvious costume, basically letting the entire world know that you are someone that they should be suspecting at. So that is something that Ubisoft has fixed right now. So the AIs or the enemies are going to be able to detect you based on your outfits, or if you're someone that is just trying to blend into the crowd and just like a normal citizen. Now, Ubisoft has also said that with the smart detection system, they've also added in something where the enemies will now be able to track you in return. So take, for example, you're playing a mission where you have to just tail some enemy and then you're trying to track this enemy down. Then the enemy is constantly going to like kind of look back and try to look if someone is actually following him or not. Now, apart from other Assassin's Creed games that we had with tailing missions and stuff like that, the only way that the enemy could basically know that you're following them is if you get too close or if you do something that kind of like attracts the attention. But with Assassin's Creed Mirage, the enemies and the AIs are so advanced that they are constantly going to keep looking around and trying to see if anyone is following them, and especially seeing you in the assassin robes, they are definitely going to find out that an assassin is trying to track them down. And since the AI system in this game is pretty advanced compared to the previous Assassin's Creed games, Ubisoft has also given us a couple of new tools which we can play around with. And one of those tools is something that we actually got to see in the trailer, which is the trip mines, which produces a gas, and there are different kinds of trip mines that you can use. Of course, we will be unlocking more. So these trip mines are going to play a very huge role in terms of how the stealth system works in this game, as well as the combat. And apart from this, we also have something that is returning from previous Assassin's Creed games, which is the blow dart, which is going to have two different types of blow darts. One being the dart which basically puts the enemies to sleep, and the other one is the berserker. Now, I don't know if they have any new variations that they're trying to add into this game. That would be really cool if Ubisoft could just add in a new variation of how the blow dart works like. And finally, I can now assure you guys that the stealth system in this game is still alive. Assassin's Creed games is going back to its roots. We are finally going to be experiencing a proper Assassin's Creed game this year, and Ubisoft has now confirmed that they have designed the entire level of this game in a way that is going to support parkour system, stealth action, as well as a perfect combination of combat system. So this is something I am very excited about. There's also a ton of information I have that is related to graphics of this game, if the graphics is looking next gen or not. There are a lot of screenshots of the gameplay that I want to be sharing with you guys, which I will be doing, of course, on my upcoming videos. There is a ton of information that I just cannot wait to share with you guys related to Assassin's Creed Mirage and the upcoming Assassin's Creed codenamed Red, which is set in feudal Japan, as well as Assassin's Creed Hexe. There are a lot of images, a lot of screenshots of gameplays that I want to be sharing with you guys in my upcoming videos. So make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the channel and turn the notifications on. And even if you guys have turned the notifications on, make sure that you guys are setting the notification settings to all, because if you don't do that, then the broke ass YouTube platform, you know them, they just don't send you guys the notifications of my videos. So make sure you do it so that you don't miss out on my daily content, which I am, of course, trying to keep up my daily schedules here, and I'm trying to give you guys the best quality content as I possibly can, rather than just pushing in with all the details with just one video. I'm trying to just figure out and split up all the different key features that I want to be sharing with you guys. On my previous video, I covered everything that you need to know about the parkour system in Assassin's Creed Mirage. If you haven't watched that already, make sure to go ahead and check that video out. And now in this video, we have covered everything that you need to know about combat system and stealth and stuff like that. And with the upcoming videos, I'm going to be covering everything related to graphics, technologies, and the game engine, and everything that you guys need to know for the next generation technologies, and everything I was lucky enough to get to see behind the closed door event that I was invited by Ubisoft for. Thank you so much, Ubisoft, once again for actually providing me this opportunity to bring out all the content for my audience here. A huge thanks to you guys. You guys have really changed my life. Thank you so much. And yeah, if you guys did enjoy this video, did find this useful, and if you guys want to support me as a content creator, I would absolutely appreciate that if you guys could just go ahead and drop a big fat like on this video, because your likes, it actually does help the videos. It helps the channel out. It helps support all of the content that I made for you guys every single day. It kind of does motivate me, man. So please go ahead, show your support. That would really help a lot. With that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you guys on tomorrow's video. Until then, take it easy, fams, and goodbye.